Okay, we're continuing on with our time value money. Now we're computing rate, our interest rate, finding out what interest rate gives us different present and future values. One of the things that we're dealing with here, when we talk about rate, depending on what we're talking about, it can be called the discount rate if we're taking a future value back to the present value. Sometimes it can be called cost of capital. If we're borrowing money, it can be called opportunity cost if we're looking at two different investments or we're pulling money out of an investment to go pursue another project. If we're looking at investing in stocks or bonds or any project, it could be called a required rate of return. The main point here is do not let the verbiage throw you off. We're talking about the same thing. We're talking about interest rates. Okay, you can see we have our initial equation here. We've rearranged that to solve for R. Those of you that want to use the equation, by all means, feel free. Quite honestly, when I get to certain things like an exponent like that, I just have no desire to do that. I have tools in my handbag, and that's what I like to use. So I'm going to use my calculator and solve for R. So if we look at this, all right, I'm going to have my present value, I'll have my future value, I'll have N, and what we'll be solving for is interest rate here. All right, we'll go through a few examples again. So let's say we had just say we had $1,000 as our present value. We wanted to go 10 years out, and we wanted to turn that into, say, let's just say 15,000. You know, what interest rate might make that happen if we could do that? Okay. Now, again, brand new problem, so I got to clear time value money, so that's a second function. I'm going to clear that out and quit. All right. Now, let's just walk through. We have N. Okay, we have $1,000 as my present value, and I wanted 15,000 for my future value, and I'm looking for interest rate, so I'm going to compute interest rate. Oh, notice I have an error 5. What in the world's going on? Okay. Anytime, folks, anytime that we have both a present and a future value, one of them has to be negative. And this is why I said earlier, get in the habit of making your present value negative. Okay. So it'll alleviate that problem if you do that. Now, if I want to look at what I did, I got the recall button here, so I can recall, hey, look, there's my future value. That one's positive. I can recall my present value, and I go, oh, I didn't make that negative, so I can just make that negative. Okay, that easy. And then I can compute the interest rate. So if you could get a 31.19% interest rate, you could take that $1,000, turn it into $15,000 in 10 years. Okay, let's look at a couple others here just to make sure everybody's got it. Let's do 40 years. Okay, and we're going to look for interest rate present value. Let's say we put in $5,000 and we want that negative, and our future value, let's say that was oh, I don't know. Let's just go. Could we do that? Say $75,000. Okay. What would that be? So new problem. I'm going to clear this out again. Okay. I've got 40 for N. I've got 5,000. Whoops, one too many. I can use my back arrow there. Negative for present value, and I want 75,000 for future value, and I'm going to compute my interest rate, and we get 7% there. When we're talking about interest rate, 7.0046%. I really want to try to get in the habit of taking my interest rate out 4 decimal places and let that that's just going to be better for us, because these what is it, the thousandths and 10,000ths of a percent, when we're going long term, can really make a difference on the value of our answers there. Okay. We'll do one more example, and then I think you'll have it down. And so let's see here. Let's go here. Let's see. By the time you guys graduate and get to retirement, really it'll probably be more like you won't be able to retire till you're 70. So let's just say 50 years. It's going to put you out at 72. Let's say you've got a negative, I don't know, let's do 3,500, and that's your present value. And let's say future value. What could we do there? We're going an extra 10 years. Let's see if we get that to 100,000. Okay, and see what interest rate would do that for us. Okay. All right. Let's see here. We're going to clear that out. Brand new problem. So we got 50 years. So if you're 21 when you graduate, you'll be 71 when this happens. If this works out. So let's see what we have. And then 100,000 for future, and interest rate 6.9347. So that was 6.9347, and that's not a bad interest rate. That's very doable with stocks and bonds. And we'll talk more about that in the coming chapters.